I'm throwing it off the backboard. My man Jonathan Macri's getting in. Maybe slamming it down, maybe laying it in. I'll let him decide that. We are off the backboard from OddsChecker. Is Jonathan Macri from Knicks Film School. As always, I'm your host, Matias Weilmann. Jonathan, I set you up for that. I can't dunk myself, and I'm like 6'3", so it's no shame if you're not yamming it down.
I mean, if you give me one of those old Nerf hoops, I could probably make it work on that. You know, a basket that's adjustable down to maybe 7 feet. I could probably get it up on a 7 foot. Okay. Maybe eight's a little. 8 might be a little bit much for me. I'm not a tall guy.
Give me one of those like hoops that you attach like behind the door. I can do one of those. That's good for me. Taking a look at what we had last week, it feels like a long time since we last talked. We haven't talked since last Wednesday. For our bets, again, I'm gonna take my victory lap here. We have another show where we go over props on alternate days than these, and I cannot seem to hit a single bet on that. And I don't know what it is about this show, but I hit every single bet that we're on this show. Hit again, Chris Paul over 8.5 assists. That was when KD came back. That number is not going to be that low, I don't think, for a while. Just gave you a gray for Embiid under points, but you did hit KD over 20.5 points. So that really should be green. I'm sorry, I'm not doing you many favors here on the graphics.
No, it's okay. I'll take the credit happily, and I'll also take the credit for you doing well when you're on with me. Clearly, I am your good luck charm, so it's fine.
Yeah, this is all you're doing. None of mine, honestly, because there's no rhyme or reason. There's no difference in my method from the other show. Let's go over what the public did last night, because it was ugly. We're going to go over the games in a little bit. We always go over the most bet on props. Just because a lot of people are betting on it does not mean they are good bets. And looking at this list, these aren't crazy numbers. You get Jokic over 22.5 points. That was low for a reason. It's usually not that low. Damn, this is a tough graphic to look at.
I was surprised at the minus 155 on that 5.5 number. I mean, I looked going into last night. McCollum had only hit over 5 in, I think, 7 of his previous 9 6 of his previous 9 games, and now it's only 7 of his previous 10 because he went way under. And the day, I mean, look, I know the numbers Dame has been putting up since January 1st, but 36.5, we're getting a little ridiculous now, aren't we?
Yeah, that's I think when his point total was at 38.5 after a 71-point game, I think that was the highest it had been since I think it was when James Harden had 50 straight for a week on the Rockets, or a crazy Luka stretch. But you're right, 36.5 consistently, just a little too high, even if he is hitting it. He did hit over 4.5 threes. I think he had 6. Ended up having a triple-double last night. So regardless, Dame still does Dame things. But no, I agree. Other than that, just tough sledding for the public, but a big day to bounce back. Just taking a look at what we saw last night in general. I don't know if you want to, just dance on the graves of the Boston Celtics. Note to Grant Williams: don't say you're going to hit both free throws and then not hit them.
I was actually rooting for Cleveland because the Knicks are trying to chase the Cavs for home court, and I watched the end of that game. The Celtics are not in a great place right now, but I actually want to focus on a couple of other games. The Pelicans, I mean, since they were briefly second or tied for second, I think, in the West, and obviously everything changed when Zion went down, but they've dropped 7 of 9 against the spread, and then. Just as far as bad beats, Miami was up by 6 points with 4.1 seconds left, and then some chicanery ensued, and they dropped. But I think Miami's coming. I'm going to give them. I'll give them that. I think they're trending in the right direction. They've been playing better the last 3 games, so I would be on them from here to the end of the season.
Okay, and if you want another bad beat as well, because last night was just brutal. The Sixers were up 7.
Yes.
Going into that final possession with 4 seconds to go, game was over. Tyrese Halliburton hits a 3 at the buzzer, and they end up winning by 4. That line was -6. That is just disgusting. But we flip a page. We're on to a new day for today. Let's take a look at what the public is looking at tonight. As always, we are showing you the 5 games that are the most lopsided in terms of where the money or where the percentage of bets are going. Here are your top 5. Tell me what stands out to you from this list.
Before I tell you what I like the most, I just want to give a tip of the cap to the Pistons, who are 8-8 against spread in their last 16 games. You'll still see the occasional blowout. Like, I think they lost by 26 to Cleveland the other night. But like, even in that first half of that game I was watching, like, they were fighting 8.5 against the Wizards, who've not exactly been a model of consistency this year, even though they've been playing better over the last month or so. That's a lot of the handle going on the Wizards. But I'm gonna go right to Golden State. I mean, 8-22 road record against the spread, and when they're a road favorite, 3-10 against the spread, which is just like, people are waiting for it to turn around. I get Steph's back, I all of that, but SGA's playing tonight. I know it's a low number, -4, but it's still your favorite here, and that team does not deserve to be favored ever, I don't think, on the road.
Yeah, that's super fair. They have just been brutal. Like, the splits have not been pretty. Full disclosure, the Knicks actually have the most lopsided spread here, but we have our Knicks corner coming up a little later, so I figured it was a little unfair to have them on this list. A couple of teams here, your nemesis, the Dallas Mavericks, in terms of betting and covering the spread. It's been well documented how bad they've been against the spread. And we talked about this a couple of shows ago. Like, as bad as Utah is, or quote unquote as bad as they are, they're not a bad team, but they're as unspecial as the Utah Jazz are. Like, they are not a bad team. And 9 is a big number. Dallas seemed like they're starting to figure things out between Kyrie and Luka.
I don't.
What is this like?
9 for a team that is 10-18-2 as a home favorite this year. Again, like, what are we doing here? You mentioned Utah hadn't been playing well, but a lot of those games, some of their key players were missing in action. I think Kessler is going to be out tonight. I think Sexton might be out, but like, Markkanen, he's playing. The other guys that they didn't trade. Utah is a tough team because you could see it going in a few different directions, right? Over the final fifth of the season, do they have a late tank in them? I mean, they're still in play-in position right now. So that's
Got them out.
Yeah, it's probably a stay away, but again, that's just, it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much faith in a team that just has not shown the ability to defend in the Mavs.
That's fair. Of this list, I'm all over Brooklyn -6.5 against Houston.
Yep.
Like, dude, the Rockets are just awful. And this is coming from a fan of a team that just got blown out twice in as many days, essentially, as the Rockets. That was the new low of the season for sure. I was like, all right, half the players were out for the Spurs. I'm like, okay, they should be semi-competitive, and ooh, boy, was I wrong. But I think those games probably sway that a little bit. But
I was going to say the same thing, maybe even just by a point or two, but that might be enough. 6.5, it feels like it should be a little higher, but everybody's going on Brooklyn anyway.
Yeah. Couple other games that aren't listed here, just aren't the most lopsided ones. Bucks -2 against the Magic, 69% of the handle and the bets. Nice. No Giannis, no Drew Holiday today, so they're obviously missing big guns. They did cover the -7.5 against the Magic last week. Again, this is the best team in the league in the Orlando Magic. Between that and the Sixers +1.5 against the Wolves, getting 59% of the handle, 73% of the bets. Is that Bucks one? Is that just too many question marks to bet on? What do you think about those two?
I mean, of the two, it feels like the Bucks number is a little low. Again, all due respect to the 2023 NBA champion Orlando Magic, I'd still probably skew Milwaukee there, but if anything, skew Milwaukee.
Okay, that's fair. Let's get into our best bets for tonight. Big bounce back moment here. We have never lost a bet on the show. Obviously, that is not true. But Jonathan, I will let you go first since we got unlucky last week and your bet got voided because Embiid did not play. Hit me with your best bet for tonight.
I'm excited for this one. I'm looking to make back some friends that I may have lost along the way, as I have been critical of one RJ Barrett. But this number caught my eye. Plus 700 on FanDuel to go over 30 points. Now, RJ's coming off a game against the Celtics, went to double overtime, in which he got 29 points. Before that, he had a string of games in which he was scoring in the teens. He has not quite been the same since he came back from an injury that he sustained in the middle of the season against the Dallas Mavericks. He's had a few 30-point games sprinkled in there, so it's not like it's all been bad. The reason I like this tonight, one, obviously plus 700, it's a nice value. And two, and actually this is 2 and 3 together, they're playing the Charlotte Hornets, who not exactly known for their defensive prowess. And Jalen Brunson, as of right now, is still questionable. Now, we'll find out whether Brunson plays as we get closer to game time. To me, this is a bet that they're going to sit Brunson against a bad team before they head out west for a 4-game road trip, get him a little bit of extra rest. And, I know Quickly's coming off a career game. I know Randall, obviously, has been putting up numbers. But this is a bet that Brunson sits out, and they maybe use this as an opportunity to get RJ Barrett a little bit more in the flow of things, because he's, it's been a little iffy since the Josh Hart trade. So again, it's a tasty enough number here where it's only 6 or 7 games he's gone over 30 on the year, but I feel like this is a good opportunity to put your money on that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, 30 for RJ Barrett at plus 700 is not a crazy bet. By any stretch of the imagination, honestly. Obviously, you take any plus 700 straight, it's unlikely to hit statistically, but honestly, you'll take that. I had a tame bet, but then I saw yours, and I was like, okay, I can't have a minus 110 bet next to a plus 700. So if we can roll the graphic onto the screen, I decided to get a little frisky here. Take some alternate spreads, get up to plus 435. And I understand maybe no Brunson tonight. Like you said, it wouldn't be the craziest thing just to sit him out, get him a little maintenance, because it has been a crazy couple of weeks for the Knicks. But the Hornets have been bad, man. And they play good teams and they get blown out. We talked about before, shout out to the Pistons, how you can be bad but be competitive. The Hornets are bad and not competitive. They're like the Rockets, which are the other team I have there. So I decided, let's get a little New York state of mind going. Take the Knicks minus 13.5, because they've been beating teams by 14, 15. That's been about the number there. And then take the Nets up to minus 9.5, because they have been beating teams by about 13 and 14. And they're playing the Rockets. And I cannot stress this enough. The Rockets are a very bad basketball team. And so are the Charlotte Hornets. Some people are even saying they're 2 of the 4 worst teams in the league. So you have 2 decent to good teams. I'd say that the Nets are decent and the Knicks are good, as much as it pains me to say that. And then you have 2 very bad teams. So take advantage of it and take plus 435. I really don't think this is super crazy, honestly.
It's not, and this will bleed a little bit into our Knicks corner. The odd thing about the Knicks is, unlike a lot of teams in the league, they don't have your typical end of bench real scrubs that they put in. Their end of bench guys are guys that, veterans like Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, that a lot of times Tibbs won't even put them in, at the end of games, and he'll close a game that may be out of reach for the opponent that he feels comfortable with guys who are still good basketball players, part of the normal rotation, maybe a Deuce McBride, maybe a Derrick Rose. But so I feel like if it's smooth sailing, with 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes left in this game, even if he, again, quote unquote, empties the bench, you still have a good chance to not have a letdown in those last couple of minutes. So I don't mind this number at all.
If you're not that confident or not this crazy, just do me a favor and take the Knicks and Nets on the spread. And I'm not telling you to do this. I'm also not telling you not to do this. You may not have conferred with our producer on what this is parlayed. You take Jonathan's bet and mine, you get it plus 4180. Again, not telling you to do it, not telling you not to do it. I'll let you go with that what you will. Is this a little too rich for your blood, or?
That's a nice number. I like that one. Yeah.
Jonathan, we are trying to make generational wealth on off the bat. Let's go right into Nick's corner, because you deserve a victory lap here. Honestly, obviously going against a very bad Hornets team, -10 tonight. I just want to take a quick pulse check before we actually break down this game. Are you at a point, because I think most Knicks fans are, that it's just like I don't know how to act right now. Like, the Knicks are winning the NBA championship, they're winning the next 5. Like, they are you on the level that you're like the Knicks are a top 5 team in the league right now?
There have been stages to this. It's like the first stage was accepting the fact that the Knicks are good, and then the next stage was reconciling with, okay, they're good, but what does that really mean? What could they do, in the playoffs and this and that? I think after this weekend, the weekend that just passed, in which they beat Miami and then Boston and Boston, and what was a great game. Now, for the first time, I am kind of on board the maybe let's just play the season out and see what happens. I'm not gonna say that this team is gonna definitely lose against anybody the way that they're playing. That said, there are still some teams in the East that one in particular in Milwaukee, but they could also face Cleveland in the first round and not get out of that, because that's that Cavs team is still good. So a lot of basketball ahead, but definitely feeling good vibes right now.
I saw a certain live stream. I believe it was after the Celtics game, where you had there was a quoted pretty explicit quote that
Yes.
I'll let any viewers just go on to Knicks Film School on Twitter and go check out.
That's
obviously,
a good idea.
as you can see, yeah, I'm not going to go ahead and repeat that on air. Obviously, big number going in on the Knicks in terms of the handle, in terms of the bets. Give me one thing to look for tonight, and one key to a victory for the Knicks to cover my -14.5.
Just guard the line. Guard the 3-point line. The Hornets this season are 10-9 when they shoot at least 37% from 3, and they are 10-37 when they shoot under 37% from 3. So it has more to do with conversion rate than volume. And the Knicks, I haven't checked the number actually in the last few days, but they're undefeated this season when they give up 108 points or less, close to something like 28-0 or 29-0. Around there. As long as they lock in on defense, I'm not too worried about this game. A double-digit spread is, again, with Jalen Brunson potentially missing the game, I'll be honest, this is, and maybe this is a little reverse jinx I'm trying out again, but I would probably stay away from this one. Of course, I think I said the same thing last week, and the Knicks ended up blowing out whoever they played. I think maybe that was the Nets. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but feeling like as long as they defend the 3-point arc, things are in good shape.
How do you feel about that total then? Because you're saying it. This is a team that is around that 105 number. It's over under 226. I believe it's like 78% of the money is coming in on the over. So what do you think?
I love the over because, if anything, this game has a chance to resemble the aforementioned Nets game from last week, where the Knicks were just firing on all cylinders on offense, and you could tell pretty early on that they were not as locked in on defense as they are perhaps capable of being. I think because they just knew it was going to be one of those nights, and offensively they were going to get whatever they want. It's a slippery slope there, but yeah, I think between the money line and the over, I would definitely go for the over here.
Okay, so you heard it. We have a plus 4180 parlay for you. These are the kind of things that we give you on Off the Backboard. Jonathan, why don't you just tell everyone how they can catch coverage for tonight's Knicks game on Knicks Film School?
Yeah, check out Knicks Film School on YouTube. You could just put that in your search bar. I will be on there for the post game, and of course, check out Knicks Film School wherever you get your podcasts. We have great pregame pod out ahead of tonight's Hornets game, featuring Andrew Claudio and someone who covers the Hornets. So yeah, just Knicks Film School for all your Knicks needs.
And if you're lazy, just go into the description. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter, he is literally tagged. We cannot make it any easier for you. Before we do go, though, I just want to tell you real quick, Massachusetts giveaway. If you're watching us from Massachusetts, mobile sports betting is going live this Friday morning. We have awesome promos for you. All you have to do is check out those links in our description. Again, if you want to sign up with FanDuel, we have an awesome sign-up bonus. If you want to sign up for BetMGM, we have one. Or if you want to sign up for both, or if you want a chance to win $100 from us to get you started, all you have to do is fill out a form to get started. Also, if you're into the Oscars, we have a $1,000 pool that is free to play. All you have to do is fill out a form and your entry. I'm going to be breaking it down with Michelle Beadle later this week, so make sure you're tuned into that. And we're going to have one going for March Madness. Again, free to play, free to enter, and you can win up to $500 as the first place prize. Jonathan, I'm going to let you go so you can get ready for this game tonight. I will talk to you tomorrow.
Always a pleasure, man. Looking forward to it already.